I did a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Platinum using only Pokemon that Nintendo doesn't want me to have. It became a huge talking point for Sword and Shield that many Pokemon were unobtainable in those games. But this problem has actually existed as far back as Ruby and Sapphire. Pokemon Platinum attempted to solve this issue, and gave you plenty of ways to encounter different Pokemon. The Pokeradar, Swarms, the GBA dual slot functionality, and so on. But for some reason or the other, a very small selection of Pokemon were still left out entirely. Today, I'll be sneaking into the Sinnoh region with these few in hopes of making it all the way to the Elite Four. And we're gonna see if these Pokemon are gone because Game Freak thought they were too strong for the region, or if it was natural selection that did the job for them. None of the first 3 sets of starters are obtainable in Platinum, so I choose one of them in place of a Sinnoh starter. I end up picking Torchic, partially because it's the coveted fire type, and partially because I want Retribution from my Emerald Cannon run. After I beat Barry in a sparring match and get introduced to a store, my second illegal Pokemon soon joins the team. For these Pokemon, I try to place their encounters as Game Freak would, or should, in the spirit of game balance. And south of Sandgem Town, on Route 219, if I had a Super Rod, I could fish up Clamperl in Diamond and Pearl. Okay, yeah, it's with the post-game item, but it's just Clamperl. My mission brings me to Jubilife City, where I run into a detective of the International Police. Oh boy, just my luck. The last thing I want is for him to realize I'm smuggling illegal Pokemon into the region. Luckily, he appears oblivious, but I do not want to be within his circle. I got off easy this time. I have another sparring match against Barry, and soon enter Orberg City. I yearn for their mines, what can I say? I place another encounter here because I couldn't quite imagine anywhere else to put him. Trapinch usually only spawns in the desert, and Sinnoh's desert is in the postgame. But I thought that since they love digging so much, they'd yearn for the mines too. Of course, with the power of the Library of Alexandria on my side, Rourke's gym challenge is handily taken care of. After we set up an iron defense that, admittedly, wasn't really necessary, her water guns quickly defeat the 2 Pokemon that rock-type gyms just can't get rid of. Then Cranidos only uses Screech before sharing the same fate. Alright, so far so good. Over in Floroma Town, not only is my way blocked by some people with bowl cuts, but a little girl asked me for help to save her dad. I'd like to get to the Elite Four making as few waves as possible, but sometimes a man's gotta do what a man's gotta do. Just gotta heal up at the Pokemon Center a few times. That's pretty normal actually. After busting my way into the secret base, I'm able to get to the boss without being seen by a single soul. Commander Mars is often the first roadblock in Sinnoh. Purugly isn't that strong, so they placed one in the only area where it'd be a threat. Fortunately, after eating a crit, Dinosaurs takes care of her Zubat with his own crit. Yeah, no one outshines Dinosaurs. When Purugly enters, we decide to stay in and eat a fake out, followed by a feint attack, before returning the damage with a Rock Smash. We get pretty low, but thanks to the power of the newly evolved affordable housing, we're completely safe to double kick away and save the day. Now to make my quick escape without getting noticed by anybody. Oh! Hey, looker! Yup, all taken care of here. In Diamond and Pearl, Eterna Forest is home to the first Pokemon of many that's linked to a Sinnoh Pokemon that you can't get in this game. In this case, we're getting Murkrow. Why did they do that? I don't know. Oh man, Eterna City has more of those cult guys. I just gotta get this badge and get out. And fortunately, we are able to do just that. Class of 3000 combos perfectly with affordable housing, and they effortlessly crush the entire gym. Oh, hey, my name's, Tom. Yeah, Tom. Oh, you're Cynthia? Nice to meet you. Try using cut? Okay, bye. I think she's onto me. With my new HM, I go on to fight Commander Oh! This guy's everywhere! Anyways, I go on to fight Commander Juniper, and her Skuntank is another early game threat. Class of 3000 takes out her Zubat with a crit, then we get some chip damage on the Skuntank with Wing Attack. I had given Class the TM for Thief to steal a Citrus Berry for ourselves, but mistakenly equipped him with an Oranberry too. Oops, can't hold 2 berries. The Citrus plan falls through, and after Affordable Housing activates their berry with a neutral double kick, we go for it again, and they live on 1. But because they go on the defensive and use Smokescreen, we just use double kick again and win the battle. As a reward, I'm given a free bike. But now I've got 2 threats on my tail. Undercycling Road is where you would normally find Stunky in Pokemon Diamond, but since Game Freak obliterated them, 24-hour Walmart gets welcome to the team. Arceus, I come before you today to ask you for one thing. I want you to kill Looker and Cynthia. Fantina is a massive problem, way more so than Team Galactic. I have 2 dark types to counter her, but Class of 3000 is frail, and 24-hour Walmart doesn't get any dark type moves yet. Really wish I saved the Thief TM. With the correct pivoting, we've got a chance, but this is gonna be rough. Dinosaur leads strongly and negates the Duskull's Will-O-Wisp with a Rossberry, before bringing them to the yellow with Bite. The second Willow lands as well, but even with the burn, we can safely take them out. To my surprise, Mismagius enters right away. I guess it makes sense since they have Magical Leaf, but when Class of 3000 tags in, he instead gets hit with a Confuse Ray. We eat a Shadow Ball and fight through the confusion to steal their Citrus Berry with Thief. We could stay in and finish them off with Assurance, but of course we're risking a crit or using up the berry. In hindsight, the berry wasn't that important to save by this time, cause citrus berries are plentiful by the next city, but oh well. Walmart switches in on a Shadow Ball for probably the most important play of the fight. Of course our special defense drops, but she could just barely live another hit and land a Toxic on the Mismagius. This is our only shot at taking this thing down now. It's just a matter of stalling them out. Expecting another Shadow Ball, Alexandria comes in and... Oh no! Somehow she lives the Magical Leaf, but man, that was scary. By the time affordable housing comes in, the toxic damage racks up and Fantina heals her ghost. Fortunately, the status stays, so we could do a little more damage. But I need to keep my starter healthy for her last Pokemon, so Class comes back out on a resisted Shadow Ball. Could have fooled me though. They're certainly going down in one more turn now. It's just a matter of who could live that next attack. I paused my recording here to go back and see how much damage Shadow Ball was doing to affordable housing. I realized that aside from a crit, he barely lives. But forgot to record right away before switching back in. But as a matter of fact, they just go for Magical Leaf, and the toxic damage finally takes them out. I am so sorry I didn't record it. Shadow Claw from Haunter does sizable damage to affordable housing, and its high crit rate is pretty threatening. Then Class of 3000 simply switches into Hypnosis. I pivot into Walmart on a resisted Shadow Claw in order to beta Hypnosis into Dinosaur, who's already burned. It doesn't work out, but he's able to barely live another hit and retaliates with a Bite that is still plenty strong enough to finish off Fantina's final ghost. Yikes. If our Toxic didn't land, or if they got a single crit, then this run would have been as good as finished. We barely got out of that fight, but we've got some nice buffs on the horizon. While I begin my first notable battle against Barry, I'd like to suggest subscribing and leaving a like if you're enjoying the video so far. It helps out the channel in a bunch of ways, and I'd really appreciate it. It takes a while for Barry to become a sizable threat in this game. Most of his Pokemon are easily outmatched by certain type matchups, but we don't have a particularly good answer to Prinplup. Walmart takes 50% from Bubble Beam, so I opt to chip them away with Alexandria's Whirlpools and Water Guns. After risking one more crit to get one of our own, Class of 3000 tags in on a Lucky Peck. Bubble Beam would have been bad. We outspeed and almost take them out with Wing Attack, but since Barry throws and uses Growl, the adolescent Emperor Penguin is extinguished. I wasn't very prepared for them this time, but this along with the previous gym was a good wake-up call for me. My goal is the Elite Four, but the challenges leading up to it could be just as hard. We've got a long walk before the 4th gym, and aside from a couple of items, we can also pick up a 6th friend. Misdreavus got very similar treatment to Murkrow in these games, so the Lost Tower bestows one onto us. There's only one more Pokemon left now, so it's very important that we keep these guys alive. Oh great. The first thing I see here is some Galactic runs. If I move quickly, I should be able to avoid Looker. The great thing about Veilstone City is that not only do I get access to citrus berries, but I also get to purchase a bunch of TMs. The set from the department store and from the game corner are invaluable and... well, this one's on me. Ah, yeah, the Galactic logos are here. You gotta investigate further, yeah. Keep at it. Oh, there's also a move tutor just past the next city. The moves aren't too bad either. Gym battle number 4 begins, and fortunately it's not nearly as stressful as the previous one. Class of 3000 has a strong lead and one-shots the meta type before they can land an attack. Machoke is a little bulkier and lives the wing attack, returning the damage with a Rock Tomb. It's pretty significant as it also lowers our speed, but Class of 3000 can still outspeed them and finish them off with a second wing attack. Lucario, on the other hand, is pretty scary. Their coverage is dynamic as well as the secondary effects they'll have to account for. But Yugoslavia happens to be immune to 3/4 of his attacks. This just means we could almost always switch in for free, because Metal Claw is still an issue. So after we land a Psychic, Housing switches in on the guaranteed resisted Metal Claw. They then outspeed and heal up with a nasty Drain Punch, but due to the oddly low amount of healing, they're in the perfect range to get taken out by Flamethrower. Honestly, cut it pretty close there. And I hate risking all these crits, but with that fight behind us and a new level cap in play, Affordable Housing and Walmart are able to reach their final forms. And not a moment too soon, because Wake is extra scary. No matter what generation we're in, Gyarados is a scary Pokemon to fight, but Yugoslavia should outspeed and Thunderbolt them for an easy kill. However, it turns out that we are really slow compared to the average Misdreavus, as we have a minus speed nature. This gives Gyarados ample opportunity to not only land a bite, but flinch us in the process. Come on, Yugoslavia, you gotta fight harder than that. Instead of risking a crit, I switch to Housing, who easily tanks a bite and actually outspeeds and takes them out with Thunder Punch. Huh, maybe I should have checked the speed stats beforehand. Quagsire threatens both water and ground type moves, and hoping for a ground one, I bring back Yugo. We predict correctly and set up a substitute while a Rock Tomb just doesn't do enough to break it. Eventually it does fade away, but by that time, Quagsire is low enough to get taken out by a final Shadow Ball. I probably should have set up another sub to prepare for the Floatzel, but instead I played it fast and loose, and then pivoted into Alexandria to bait a Crunch into Walmart. They land a Brine that leaves us just over half, as we hit them with a natural gift. This attack is powered by our held Pineapple Berry, making it a nice single-use electric attack. After that, we take another hit before hoping for a crit off a Night Slash, but we're not so lucky and are forced to switch. Alexandria again helps us pivot, and a Crunch comboed with a Brine is barely not enough to take out Affordable Housing. He's able to safely Thunder Punch them in retaliation, getting us one step closer to our end goal. All things considered, I don't know how many more crits we're going to be able to dodge. Even with Looker nowhere in sight, I somehow get bestowed the duty of chasing down a guy that tried to bomb the Great Marsh. I really think this is beyond my pay grade. But after chasing him down and finally beating him in a battle, I let him get away. Oh, and so does Cynthia. She may have noticed that I don't have the same firefighting starter that other people normally have, and I think she's testing me with a few tasks. I'll play along for now. If I'm able to get on her good side, then this might be smooth sailing. I cure the group of Psyduck on Route 210 and deliver the old charm to her grandmother in Celestic Town. In each case, she was following closely behind, keeping an eye on me to make sure that I did what she asked. Creepy. It culminates with my first battle against Cyrus, but since he hasn't discovered the power of friendship yet, it's over pretty quickly, and I'm rewarded with the HM for Surf. Being able to freely traverse water means that the team is getting a major upgrade. First, Alexandria can evolve, since now I get access to Route 220, which is where Deep Sea Scales are taken from wild Pokemon. I could have evolved her into Huntail earlier, but Gorbis seemed like a better choice. Dinosaurs evolved at the delayed level of 41 so that they could get Dig naturally. I wanted to save the TM, just in case. And I head to Orberg Gate where I could finally get the Dusk Stone. Oh? Huh? Oh, it's not down here? There was one under the cycling road the entire time, and Class of 3000 could have evolved and swept the gym? Oh. Well, this is actually fine, because I'm going to be evolving Yugoslavia now instead. The speed and coverage seem more valuable now, since I don't plan on using class for the next 2 gyms anyways. And finally, the last neglected Pokemon of the run can be obtained, and that'll be Livable Wage the Glameow. Even when it's in the games, it's usually not till the mid-game, which is so weird, but okay. She evolves too. Of course, this means that Barry is able to evolve all of his team as well, and with him being so close to the level cap, this fight is always a doozy. The new and improved Yugoslavia leads against the newly evolved Staraptor. Apparently we aren't improved enough because Staraptor still outspeeds. This minus speed nature is really hurting. Fortunately though, we're still capable of one-shotting them with Thunderbolt. We do not want to stay in for Heracross's Night Slash, so Housing eats the hit and takes them down with a flamethrower in one go. Empoleon is out and still a problem child, but Alexandria is a little more equipped to deal with them this time. We resist their moves, they resist ours, and after Alexandria eats just enough hits, I switch back to Yugoslavia to pick up the kill. I know Empoleon is still weak to electric moves, even though they're a steel type, but Yugo made me a little uncertain. From here, affordable Housing easily takes care of the Roserade, and the onslaught of double kicks are plenty enough to defeat the Rapidash. Byron, on the other hand, is child's play compared to everything leading up to him. Dinosaurs uses her free dig to cleanly one-shot the Magneton, Alexandria takes an Ice Fang before surfing away the Steelix, and the Bastiodon vibed with that and decided to go down the same way. Man, what was I worried about before? These games are easy. Apparently, the first bomb threats weren't enough for the police, and a third one actually goes off. This gets the professor, who I'm sure is too distracted to notice my foreign Pokemon, to task me with challenging the terrorist with a Pokemon battle. Barry's got the third one, right? Surely he does, and he seems pretty confident right outside the lakeside. So I'll just battle a gym leader whose name I forgot in the meantime. Well, that sure was fun. I wonder what Barry's up to. Oh, next time, buddy. This whole Team Galactic thing doesn't really have anything to do with me, but a small part of me feels an obligation to continue dealing with them. It pays off because after Dinosaurs gets to fully evolve, the secret hideout gets me my second Dusk Stone. Yeah, thanks, Looker. Kinda weird that you get 2 Dusk Stones like this in this game, when there's no way to get the only 2 Pokemon that use them. Either way, Class's evolution means that my cat goes in the box indefinitely. She kinda gets outclassed here. Sorry, Livable Wage, no one really gave you a chance, huh? After Looker and I sneak into the heart of the Galactic base, we secretly listen to Cyrus's speech, completely out of the sight of any grunt. No one suspects a thing. Mesmerizing for only 27 years old. That line hits me harder and harder every time I play this game. That number used to be so far away. Cyrus starts catching on to the power of friendship, but not quite enough yet, as Dinosaurs takes care of him. Alexandria then defeats Saturn one last time as we free the lake spirits. Alright, I guess that's a job well done. Oh, right. Now I've got to go to the peak of Mount Coronet. What have I gotten myself into? Barry helps me in a double battle against the 2 remaining Galactic commanders, as I help him get revenge. See, I knew you had it in you, big guy. Then it's time for the final brawl against Siren. Oh. Oh. I just wanted to take on the Elite Four, man. After Cyrus has been forcibly taken to this parallel world, I figured everything was solved. But Cynthia appears and grabs me by the neck and jumps into the void as well. I think she's trying to take care of me once and for all. I somehow managed to get to the bottom of the distortion world, and for real this time, the final brawl against Cyrus begins. By this point of the game, it became pretty clear that Dinosaurs was probably my best Pokemon. Having decent all-around stats and coverage while being sizably fast guaranteed the swift death of the Houndoom. When the Weavile threatens an Ice Punch, Housing takes it for free, along with another one before burning them alive. We would stay in on Thunder Punch the Gyarados if it weren't for the Intimidate, but Dinosaurs can switch back in on a Waterfall and do the job just the same. Because they're still in the green, we stay in and commit another Thunder Punch on the Honchkrow. It doesn't get the kill, but without Super Luck, their Drill Peck wasn't as likely to crit, and we pick up the knockout the next turn. Cyrus's Golbat oddly lacks any and all Dark-type attacks, so Yugoslavia switches in to deal with them. The multiple statuses of Confusion and Toxic are rather troublesome, so after a Thunderbolt doesn't take them out, the Library of Alexandria switches in. Even though they heal, they still soon fall to a couple Ice Beams. Ha! Nice try, Cynthia. I'm living to see another day. Huh? Where are you taking me? Walk forward? Okay. Nope. I'm not entirely sure what happened with Cyrus at the end there. He just kind of walked away. But Sunny Shore City is finally available, which means the 8th gym... Oh no, does he know? Oh, it's still shut down. I've got to let the professor know. Oh, okay. Well, after I let him know, I get to Sunny Shore City and enter the final gym. I wish I could talk about how exciting of a fight this was, but Dinosaurs simply sweeps the entire gym with Earthquake. It's almost like this region wasn't balanced around a strong ground dragon Pokemon. Maybe the absence of these guys was for game balance after all. The only thing standing in our way before the final challenge is one last fight against Barry. Fortunately for us, his Pokemon aren't prepared for the Elite Four and are still around the same level as the 8th gym. His whole team is either 1-shot or 2-shot, including his Snorlax. Of course, his Earthquake was pretty scary, but 24-hour Walmart is plenty thick, thank you very much. GG's Barry... Oh. Okay, bye. It'll probably come as no surprise to any of you, but now that we finally made it here, my go-to team is affordable housing, the Library of Alexandria, dinosaurs, the Class of 3000, 24-hour Walmart, and Yugoslavia. When I began this challenge and figured out which Pokemon would be joining me on this run, I seriously doubted the possibility of making it to this point. Each and every one of these unavailable Pokemon have battled their heart out, and now, at the gates of the Pokemon League, I stand with a deathless run. The Sinnoh Elite Four may be tough, but they're about to face the likes of which they've never seen before. Aaron especially didn't know what hit him. Because of the oddly large level gap between him and Lucian, Housing outspeeds even Yanmega without a worry, and takes them down before they know it. Drapion attempts to land a vengeful aerial ace, but Dinosaurs is plenty healthy enough to eat it, and return the favor with a super effective Earthquake. Even being level 51, Heracross has some nasty stats compared to my team. Dino stays in to do a little bit of chip, and then their Mega Horn brings us all the way down to the yellow. Yikes. Luckily, Housing 4 times resists that attack, and lets off an endless volley of flamethrowers and melts the Heracross, Vespiquen, and Scizor. Bertha doesn't fare too well either, mostly because Yugoslavia perfectly counters the leading Whiscash with Magical Leaf. Poor thing. Hippowdon threatens with a Crunch, but when Alexandria tags in, they just miss a Stone Edge. Alright. This is great, because now that we remain healthy, a Choice Specs boosted Surf proceeds to sweep the rest of her team. I went with the Specs because you never know with the Hippowdon. And I kind of feel bad for Flint, particularly because Dino doesn't even need anyone's help to win this fight. His level gives him what he needs to outspeed and sweep the entire team with Earthquake. Man, I love my fast ground dragon. Lucian's fight does put up a little more of a challenge though. His Mime can be pretty problematic with its screens, so I lead with Class to hopefully Night/Crit through the first Reflect. I'm not quite lucky enough for that, but they do get low enough for them to waste one of their full restores. After that, instead of being on the receiving end of a Thunderbolt, we use Sucker Punch for the priority kill. Maybe Honchkrow is too good for the region. Gallade is the scariest Pokemon on Lucian's team, and the Reflect doesn't help. Expecting a Stone Edge, I switch to Dinosaurs to resist it. Earthquake does a little over a third, while their Psycho Cut out-damages us by a lot. Fortunately, the Reflect finally wears off, and they get done in by a follow-up attack. With Alakazam being way past his heyday, Class eats an obvious Psychic for free, and uses another priority Sucker Punch for another easy kill. With the Espeon, I was afraid of them using Quick Attack and making Sucker Punch fail, so instead I go for Night Slash. They end up firing off Signal Beam, which does a significant amount of damage. But fortunately, Night Slash is strong enough to still get another one-shot. Honestly, Quick Attack wouldn't have even done anything, I don't know what I was worried about. Last is Bronzong, and because Gyro Ball is the only attack that can hit us, we're able to safely land some hits before they heal up with another full restore. We won't get the kill now without a crit, so Affordable Housing steps up and swipes the kill with Flamethrower. No one expects a fire type in this region. And just like that, we've defeated the Elite Four. A lot easier than I expected too, not gonna lie. And with all of that behind us, it's finally hitting me that this is the closest I've gotten to a deathless run on this channel. Of course, I'd like to keep it that way and help all of these guys and gals feel the joy of victory, but Cynthia isn't the type of champion who will just roll over and let that happen. She's the only one who's caught on to our dream, to secretly sneak Pokemon in this region that weren't allowed for some arbitrary reason and become its very champions. I have no doubt in my mind that she's going to be using her full force to end our journey here and now. But we've somehow triumphed over every fight until now, and Cynthia is just one final bump in the road. Class of 3000 is my best check into Spiritomb. In hopes of a crit, we go for Night Slash, but it looks like even a crit wouldn't have gotten the kill. They go for Silver Wind to hit us with neutral damage, and immediately get the Omni Boost. No way. We still outspeed them and hit another critless Night Slash, so they follow up with a Stab Shadow Ball. Here I got very lucky, and get to take them out with a final attack. But if they were any bit lower and healed, then I'd be in big trouble. To answer the Togekiss, I've got Yugoslavia. She switches in on a flimsy Shockwave, and Yugo shows them a real electric attack in Thunderbolt. It doesn't get the kill, but after they retaliate with Air Slash and waste a turn healing up, Yugo follows through to pick up the kill. Cynthia's Lucario has a scary amount of coverage. It's not completely safe, but Affordable Housing switches in on the expected Shadow Ball. I'd like to outspeed them and get a kill with Flamethrower, but this Lucario outspeeds and shoots off Aura Sphere. And we live! One Flamethrower does the trick, and this is perfect. We had Vacuum Wave to try to finish them off if it didn't, but Extreme Speed would have outpaced us by a mile. Alexandria checks the Milotic, but only barely. They use Dragon Pulse for sizable damage, while we hit them with Toxic as soon as possible. Yeah, their Marble Scale is going to boost their defense now, but we weren't going to be hitting them that hard anyways. To help with the chip damage, Alexandria slams them with a Shadow Ball. But what looked like to be a speed tie turned out to be them setting up a Mirror Coat. And Alexandria barely holds on. Well, I need to keep all of my buddies alive and ready for their matchups, so Class of 3000 enters the field again. I was hoping it'd be on another Mirror Coat, but it's okay. Class immediately flies into the air to stall out their Toxic. However, Cynthia has a second full restore and wastes no time in using it. They may be at full health now, but Multiscale is no longer in effect. Our fly lands and does a solid 50%. We just need to land one more. Class again outspeeds and flies into the air. We land our second fly, and on 1 HP, Cynthia's Milotic uses Surf, and marks the first death of the run. Man, we were so close too. Class of 3000 was invaluable, and just wanted to share his music with the world. I guess we'll never get that third season. With tears in her eyes, 24-hour Walmart picks up the kill from there. I was hoping Roserade would come in next, but I forgot that bosses don't have to save their aces for last in these games. Dinosaurs trades places with Walmart to eat the immune Earthquake, and aims to finish this here and now. He uses everything he can to somehow outspeed Garchomp and hit her with a super effective Dragon Claw. But it only does half, and after they eat their berry, a super effective Dragon Rush lands in return, taking out dinosaurs without any doubt. Man, great work, dinosaurs. We couldn't have gotten here without you. Yugoslavia needs to clutch it up here. She has a higher base speed and could land in an Icy Wind, but the minus speed nature comes back to bite us yet again, as they outspeed and land another deadly Dragon Rush. I guess Yugoslavia never stood a chance after all. This is awful. All of a sudden, my team that I've traveled across the entire region with has been crushed, with only half of them remaining. With only 2 Pokemon left who have priority moves, I send out Alexandria in hopes that they get greedy and finally miss an attack. And what do you know? The greed finally catches up to them as Alexandria dodges their lethal blow and fires off an Ice Beam that sets this run in stone. Roserade is all that's left, and because 24-hour Walmart resists all of their attacks, she re-enters the field to fire off her own set of flamethrowers. One final full restore only delays the inevitable, and with one last attack, Walmart finishes the job. Not only have we defeated Cynthia, but also the entire game. Thank you all so much for watching today. For that last fight, if Class of 3000 was still alive, I think I would have had enough priority attacks to end up on top, but admittedly, I really don't think I could have gotten out of that without dodging a hit. I'd say the luck kind of balances out, because if Yugoslavia had a slightly better ability, then this fight would have been way less stressful. Either way, I do not like how close so many of these runs are getting. Maybe I'll get my first Deathless run next time. Who knows? Again, if you liked the video, then please consider leaving a like, comment, and subscribe. It's cliche, but it really does help out. And that's about all I've got today. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I'll see you all next time, and have a good one.